Hello everybody and welcome to this week's video. I am doing my boyfriend picks my reads for a week. This might be terrible because I gave him some books that I was not likely to pick up of my own accord to pick from. So I basically sent him pictures of 3 books at a time and asked him to pick one. I did a romance, a literary fiction and a fantasy. So other than the romance, I probably wouldn't have picked these up this week, but I thought I should probably get them off my TBR. So I'll start with fantasy because it's the one I'm least likely to read of my own accord. I sent him The Veiled Kingdom by Holly Renee. I sent him One for My Enemy by, Olivia Blake? No, Olivia Blake. I always forget what her name is because it's a bit of an odd one. And I sent him Heir of Fire by Sarah J Maas, which is the next book in Throne of Glass that I'm up to. I started this series earlier this year and I just ran out of momentum to keep reading it. And he did pick Heir of Fire, which is chunky. I'm scared, guys. Let's see how chunky this book is. It seems to be... Oh, that's a lot. Spoil the book for me. It is 562 pages long. That's it's not as long as I thought it'd be. I thought it would reach 600 pages because it's a big book. But I think I'm gonna try and tackle this one first because it's the one I'm so scared of. Like, I've been putting this off for 4 months. So Heir of Fire. Then I sent him Margot's Got Money Problems by Ruthie Thorpe. I sent him Yellowface by someone, I can't remember. And I sent him Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. And he ended up picking Elsewhere, which is good because I think this is YA. Yeah, it says YA on the back. So this will be my second Gabrielle Zevin book, which I am excited for because I loved no, that's not the one I'm thinking of. The Storied Life of AJ Fikru. I loved that book so much, it made me cry, it was just amazing. So hopefully this is the same and I love it just as much because I do have 2 other Gabrielle Zevin books that I haven't read yet that are on my physical TBR. So I've got this one. And then I sent him 3 books that are in the romance series that I am in the middle of. I sent him X's and O's by Amy Lee. I sent him In Your Dreams Holden Road by Stephanie Archer, and I sent him Collided by Lauren Asher. I didn't tell him anything about these because if I did, I think he would have picked Collided because it's an F1 romance. But instead he picked X's and O's by Amy Lee, or Leah, I don't know how you meant to say it. But this is the second book in a series of connected standalones. And it has been a while since I read the first book, which is Set on You. And I can't remember anything about the characters in this book. So hopefully I like it because I do have The Catch as well because it's a trilogy at the moment. So, but I think I'm going to read Heir of Fire first. I will read them in the order I showed them to you, hopefully. And hopefully I can do this in a week because I mean at least Heir of Fire is quite chunky compared to my usual reads for these videos. So that's my TBR for the week. Let's see how I can do. A few days and I have unfortunately DNF'd Heir of Fire. I think I probably shot myself in the foot because I read the first 3 books in Throne of Glass in like January, February. It's now September and so I don't remember anything that happened, but I'm also pretty sure that YA fantasy is the one for me. Like, this just isn't clicking in my brain. I can't picture any of it. I can't follow who's who. I think the switching of whose perspective we're following as well, or not perspective, whose storyline we're following, because like each chapter will switch between Selena, Dorian, Manon I think, and like Chol, I don't know what his name is pronounced in my head I pronounce it Chol because it makes me think of S-Coups from 17. Any K-pop fans? S-Coups from 17. But yeah, I'm just not gelling with it. I got about 300 pages in, which is just over halfway, I think. And yeah, my brain can't handle it. So I am unfortunately DNFing this, and I think I'll probably DNF the whole series at this point. So anyway, I chose to move. This is Sky, by the way, guys. One of our dogs. I have started Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. And this was another one, was like, I don't really want to read it, I don't know what to expect, but I'm so glad that my boyfriend picked this one, because literally the prologue had me crying. This follows a 15-year-old who dies in a car accident and ends up in Elsewhere, which is like the afterlife. And yeah, it's really good. It made me cry. So I'm kind of glad I didn't film me starting to read this, because I don't want footage of me crying on the internet just yet. So I'm really enjoying this so far. I think I'm about, did I stop at 50 pages? I don't remember. I'm 55 pages in. I started reading it at like midnight just because my brain was awake and I like didn't want to sleep. But I'm gonna try and finish this today because I think it's about 270 pages. It's definitely less than 300, so definitely manageable today. So
You make me look. You got it all inside of you. Feel it to be true. And when you dance, I'm in the groove.
I have finished Elsewhere and started X's and O's. So Elsewhere was earth-shatteringly good, is how I would put it. It had me sobbing my eyes out. So I did not film much of me reading it because I'm an ugly crier, frankly. This was incredible. It was just the most emotional thing I think I've ever read. So I won't give too much away because obviously that takes away from the shocking heartbreak that you will feel if you read this. But I gave it 5 stars. Easy 5 stars. I am so impressed with this because I went into it thinking that I wouldn't really be interested. Like, it wasn't one that had been reaching out to me. Like, I didn't feel connected to wanting to read this book. And I'm so glad that I have read it. I think I read it at a really important time for me because I've been going through a bit of a mental health, not a great time for my mental health, I would say. But I loved it. 5 stars. Please read it. It's meant to be young adult, but I wouldn't want a child reading it, like a teen reading this, because it's aggressively sad, I found. So yeah, I love this. Please read it. Then X's and O's, I am 58 pages into, and I am not loving it so far. It's okay. It's pretty mid for a romance. Like, nothing's great so far. But yeah, I'm gonna continue it. I want to at least read 2 books properly for this video after DNFing Airfire, and I have read obviously the first book in these interconnected standalones, and I own the 3rd book, so I need to read this really. From what I've gathered so far, we've got Tara and Trevor, and Tara is single, obviously, and ready to mingle. She is tired of being single. She wants to find a boyfriend. She wants to settle down, properly settle down. And Trevor very much does not want to do that. He's very happy with his hookups and one-night stands, which unfortunately interrupt Tara's day-to-day life because they are roommates. I've just got to the point where she is now looking at a list of her ex-boyfriends as potential boyfriends now, which I would say is not a good thing to be doing, but I'm sure it will improve. I feel like people do like this interconnected standalone series pretty much, like most people I've seen talk about it liked it, so I'm hoping it gets better. And yeah, I did enjoy the first book. I think I gave it a 4-star at the time, but now I literally can't remember most of the things about it, so maybe it should be a 3 because it clearly wasn't that great, otherwise I'd remember it more. So let's hope that I love this because I need that feeling.
You got it all inside of you.
I have finished X's and O's by Amy Lee and I am very conflicted. The first half of this book was extremely slow. I did not enjoy the first half of this book at all. I was tempted to DNF it because I'm going to DNF the series. I don't want to read The Catch, which is the next book. And I do remember the first book set on you also being quite slow at the start. And then the last half was way better. Like the second the characters actually started dating, these two on the front, Trevor and Tara, it was so good. Like, why can't that have just been the whole book? Make it a little bit shorter and give me a bit more of them. That's all I want. Because the whole going on dates with her exes thing just wasn't for me. I'm not a second chance romance enjoyer. So yeah, it just wasn't for me the first half. So I think I'm gonna settle on a 3 because it was very like half and half my opinions on the book. But that does mean I have read all our books for this video. I don't have them on me. They've gone back on my shelf already because I put all my books that I've read for the month back on the shelf the first day of the next month, and it is October 1st today, so the other books have gone back on the shelf. But for this video I read Heir of Fire by Sarah J Maas, which I DNF'd. I've tried very hard with the Throne of Glass series to get into it because it is this massive phenomenon. It's just not for me. I'm not a high fantasy girly. I very much enjoy young adult fantasy, like Cruel Prince is one of my favourites, and obviously Harry Potter, which I think towards the end I would classify as a young adult. So those are much more my kind of pace. I just struggle with the high fantasy stuff, so I did DNF that, and I am going to DNF that series in total as well. No more Throne of Glass for me. Then I read Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin, which I loved. That was like a 5-star, 6-star if I could, but that made me sob. It was the most emotional book I've read this year. It blew the story life of AJ Fikry, which is the only other Gabrielle Zevin book I've read, and I did give, I think, a 4-star. Completely out of the waters. It was just so much better. So I highly recommend that. And obviously X's and O's, as you just heard, I gave a 3-star. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.